What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Thursday, May 9th, 2019. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the busiest lady in the business, Andrea Renee.
What's good, Greg?
Nothing. I went to bed at 8:45, Andrea.
Good for you.
I slept till 6:45. I woke up with a splitting headache.
Oh,
I don't know what is
no.
going on with my body.
Dehydrated, maybe?
I guess so, yeah. But I drank a ton of water yesterday.
I hear your nose is a little stuffy.
You think it's all just moved up? Because it's that stupid thing where I had that dumb head cold that just keeps moving around.
If you're not breathing correctly while you're sleeping, you're not going to get a full night of sleep.
Well, what can I do? I mean, about it. It's not...
Mucinex?
Yeah, but I don't want to take any more pills. I've taken a lot of pills.
You know what? Dude, science exists for a reason. Just take the goddamn
I've
pills.
got the thing for you.
Yeah?
I'll give it to you after the show. I think I have one in my bag. And if not, I'll tell you where you can get
Okay.
it. It's an all-natural herbal remedy.
Here we go. Here we go.
All right, slow down, all right?
You know what I mean? She's going to get her little pestle and mortal, do this, take part of my hair, put it in there. How you
It's
doing,
just
Andrew?
Zarbies, everyone. I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Been a very busy week. Obviously, you know, we're in the countdown to E3.
I'll say it. Oh, there it is.
We had a special guest on What's Good last night, Kelsey Impeachke from BuzzFeed Multiplayer.
Oh, nice.
I'd never hosted anything with her, and she is excellent.
Was she in town or she Skyped in?
She Skyped in from
Gotcha.
LA.
Nice,
yeah.
nice. That's
You
awesome.
know,
That's
where all
fun.
the cool YouTube kids are. Los Angeles.
I don't know about that. Kevin, we're cool, you two kids. We're right up here, aren't we?
I keep telling us to move.
Oh, okay.
We need to be
Listen,
better.
I'm stumping for Kinda Funny to move to LA.
They're
Okay.
all like, ooh, we have lives here.
Andrew, when people want to watch that, where can they watch it? When can they watch it?
They can watch it Fridays at 8 a.m. Pacific time at what'sgoodgames.com/podcast. You can get a list of all the platforms we're on, or youtube.com/what'sgoodgames.
Great. We'll throw all that shit out your head. This is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Today we're talking about Nintendo's E3 plan, Days Gone sales in Japan, more Gearbox stuff, and so much more. Because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show. Patreon.com/kindafunnygames. There you can leave your questions, your comments, your concerns, your squad up requests, and everything else under the video game sun. Then tune in to twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. Watch us record the show live. If you're watching live, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up, so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe. Housekeeping for you today. This doesn't help you. Well, it's confusing. It's one of those days. Too many live events are happening, right? We are here live right now, 10 a.m., of course, Pacific time. At 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, Ghost Recon is doing their reveal event. We'll have that for you tomorrow. Then today, PlayStation is doing their State of Play event at 3 p.m. Pacific time. We'll talk about that tomorrow. However, if you want to see us live reacts to State of Play today, you can catch that on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames at 3 p.m. If you're saying, hey, wait a second, though, I got a notification that I'm a Patreon person, I can watch you guys record the Kinda Funny Gamescast today at 2 p.m. You're not going to do an hour-long Gamescast, are you? Of course not. We'll do the pre-show, we'll start the Gamescast, then we're going to pause the Gamescast, switch over to watch State of Play, then come back and do the Gamescast and finish it all off and talk about it there.
It's a bad idea.
A lot of content today, Kev.
I'm just saying this is a bad idea.
What's the bad idea? What's the bad idea?
Well, just cutting the show in half.
What do you want to do?
I don't know, do it earlier or later?
Nah, do
Fuck, we have a movie tonight.
Detective
Detective
Pikachu. You're not going? I'm
You
going.
bought tickets.
I did. Well, that's the thing is that we bought tickets.
And
We're all
we
going to
have-
see it, and then we're going to do in review tomorrow for Detective Pikachu, right? Then guess what? In review
We're
gets
not.
punted till next week. I'm not even on it anymore because I'm a judge this week. All right, cool. I'll still go see the movie. Then Tim comes out yesterday. I was like, guess what? They added a Dolby showing of Detective Pikachu. Now everybody's switching their tickets. You can switch your ticket. And I'm like, this is complicated. I'm going to see it at the Alamo on Saturday with Jen Bai. That's what I did.
Never
But-
coming out with us.
But I have breaking news for in review that doesn't pertain to this show at all. Today, when I have a moment of silence and peace around here, which never happens, Kevin, I'm buying A-list movie pass, whatever the fuck with all of you. Tim sold me on it yesterday in terms of like, he's like, it's cheaper, just do it. It'll help for in review and I'll do it. So I'm doing that. So there you go.
Here's my thing. Why not company expense it for all of us? All of us now use it for work. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think you have to take that up with Tim Tam.
No, he's just gonna say no because he sucks.
I don't know how to tell him that yesterday he expensed it for Nick Andy.
I fucking knew it.
So I don't know what's
fucking
happening.
knew
I don't
it.
know what's going on.
When Nick talked about
I'm
it,
definitely expensive, but
I
I'm not
knew
gonna
it.
fucking buy
Give me your
either.
fucking card. I'm expensing that shit too. I fucking hate you people.
Hey, it's a work
So
expense,
a lot of
Kevin.
live streams
I'm
happening
aware.
today.
I'm aware.
Hang out with us and do it. We'll all have fun together. More housekeeping. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Tom Bach, Blackjack, Mohammed. Today we're brought to you by Hims and 23andMe, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 6 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
So many.
We're getting close, you know what I mean? It's E3, so things are warming up. It's financial year. Some of them are short, some of them aren't. Here's one that starts with a no duh, and then we get to a little bit of tidbits in there that are interesting. Number one, let's talk about Nintendo's E3 plan. They released a press release today that reads like this. Nintendo has outlined its plans for the E3 2019 video game trade show, which takes place June 13th through the 13th at
The 11th through the 13th.
Did I screw that up? As I said 13 the second time, I was like, that's sorry. June 11th through the 13th at the Los Angeles Convention Center. The weekend before the show includes 2 competitions featuring top players of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Splatoon 2 games from around the world. Okay, no duh. Returning activities during the week include a Nintendo Direct presentation on the morning of June 11th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Again, no duh. They always do the Tuesday thing. However, focusing on entirely new software scheduled to launch in 2019. There's the interesting thing. Remember that. We'll get back to it. And Nintendo Treehouse Live, a daily live stream from E3 featuring live gameplay and in-depth analysis of games featured at E3. Nintendo will feature many playable Nintendo Switch games at its booth, and a new Warp Pipe Pass will help transport people to a priority access part of lines for select games.
Warp Pipe Pass. Say that 5 times fast.
Warp Pipe, Warp Pipe.
You screwed it up.
Andrea.
I love you, Kevin.
As usual, no duh. We're going to do this. We're going to have it there. Does the fact they're talking about entirely software and entirely launching in 2019 get you?
I think this is an obviously, because they've already announced they're not talking about hardware plans, which I think is a little bit of a bummer. We obviously have speculated quite a bit on what the next thing for Switch could look like, whether it's more powerful, whether it's less powerful, designed for more family-friendly audiences.
Writes into patreon.com/kindafunnygames and says, good morning, Greg and Andrea. Nintendo announced their E3 press conference Nintendo Direct plans and specifically mentioned a focus on software, leaving talks of hardware to speculation. A lot of conflicting rumors are swirling around when exactly new hardware will be released. Summer, fall, not at all. When do you think we will see a new Nintendo Switch hardware be released? If I had to take bets, I'd say a more portable unit would be co-released with a new Pokemon or maybe Animal Crossing this fall. As for a new powerful Switch, I don't see it being released this year. Thanks for all you guys do, Evan M. Just want to get him out there. I want him on the playing field. Evan M's out there. You know what I mean?
Thanks, Evan. I think that it's become clear that we probably won't get any new hardware in 2019, aside from maybe some new colored Joy-Cons or maybe something with the Pro Controller, because I thought the statement the president made was very clear. I think that was a month ago. And this is maybe a kindafunny.com/you're wrong, where he's like, we will talk about hardware when we're ready to release the hardware.
Yeah.
So I don't anticipate any hardware happening this year, and if it does, it probably wouldn't happen until holiday. I fully expect Nintendo to focus E3 this year on Pokemon Sword and Shield, because they generally tend to pick one tentpole title to center most of their coverage around. Last year it was Super Smash Bros. The year before it was Breath of the Wild. So I think that this year, or maybe it was Breath of the Wild in 2016.
That's what I'm confused about. Yeah, for the launch year of
last year
Switch.
Was Super Mario Odyssey, or 2017 was Super Mario Odyssey.
That's right. So last year was Smash, then it was no, that doesn't make sense.
Last year was Smash.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So I think that it's going to be all Pokemon all the time, but clearly they want to.
What about Animal Crossing? That's what it's got to be, Andrea.
I mean, they might
Fuck
announce
your ideas of new hardware. I don't give a shit.
They'll announce Animal Crossing potentially.
They fucking better. They promised me 2019. All right. Reggie promised to me on his deathbed.
But when you're Nintendo and you've got Pokemon or Animal Crossing, clearly one of those is wildly more popular than the other.
Sure, Animal Crossing, it sucks. No, I'm not. But I don't think I'm with you. All right, I think yes, the booth is going to be Pokemon decked out. Right, it's going to be about that. But the year we're talking about and confusing the years, where that was the year where like Switch's first year, where it was they had Odyssey and they did have Zelda stuff too. You can have a booth that has 2 major components to it.
Absolutely. And to be clear, I'm not saying that they're not going to have anything else, but we have seen over the last few years that they've chosen to spotlight one major title, and then all the other titles are, a little bit less emphasized.
Yeah. I still believe in my heart of hearts Animal Crossing is coming 2019. I still believe at this conference that we'll get our first look at it, get a date or window, whether they say fall or winter or something to that effect, and then it'll be playable out there on the floor. But yeah, I agree that I think they're going to really double down on Sword and Shield, obviously the one we know the most about, and obviously yes, the one that's more popular and more out there for people. To your point, the nanobiologist writes in and says, Andrea, you are correct about Nintendo not talking about hardware this year. The official statement, quote, as a general rule, we're always working on new hardware and we will announce it when we are able to sell it, end quote, said Furukawa told reporters in Osaka. Quote, but we have no plans to announce that at this year's E3 in June. So there you go. So yeah, when do you see the hardware coming out? Do you see the revisions this year though? Like to Evan M's question, cool. E3's off the table. Apparently, don't trust anybody. You know what I mean? Don't trust anybody because this E3 Direct from Nintendo, they're still going to tease something that's coming in 2020. They say it's all 2019. They're liars. Anyways, I digress.
Nintendo's still a publicly traded company. It behooves them to get investors excited about what's coming down the road for them. I don't think he would make that statement if they were ready to put new hardware SKUs into the ecosystem.
No. I'm with you.
No, Greg, I don't think we're going to see hardware at E3.
No, that's not what I was saying. I apologize. Let's dial it back. What I was saying is software. You are going to see games, at least one game that's coming in 2020 at this Nintendo presentation. Yes. As the breadcrumb to keep you excited about Nintendo's whole thing.
Yes.
And I was saying now that that's off the table, when do you think you see a hardware revision? Do you think you do see something for this year?
No, I think spring 2020 seems like a good time to inject a new SKU into the Nintendo Switch ecosystem because Switch launched in the spring.
Sure.
So why not on what will be the 3rd year anniversary of the Switch, spring 2020?
Mm-hmm. I like Evan M's line of thinking that Pokemon, again, like you're saying, incredibly popular, right? And very popular with younger kids. It's the reason I think that what was it? The Nintendo 3DS, 2DS, right? The one that looks like a doorstop.
The one that didn't fold.
Yeah, exactly. That was designed for children, right? In a way that, all right, cool, here you go. And I think that people, especially nerd gamers like us with kids, are looking for a way to just toss the kids a Switch and forget about it, but not have it be their fancy one they want to take on business trips or to the bathroom to get away from their kids yelling, yeah.
That SKU comes after the Switch Pro. I'm using air quotes here.
Yeah, okay.
Because I would love to see Switch Pro launch spring 2020 alongside Metroid, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be very nice. That'd be very, very nice. Okay.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I would like to see it.
Or alongside Persona 5, which will one day come to the Switch.
Keep dreaming, Greg.
Don't listen to Barrett.
Keep dreaming.
I will keep dreaming. Someone has to be happy, goddammit. Number 2. Guess what, Andrea?
What, Greg?
Days Gone is selling great in Japan. This is James Batchelor over at gamesindustry.biz. Zombie adventure Days Gone enjoyed a strong debut in PlayStation's home market of Japan, outselling one of the PlayStation 4's biggest hits. Data from Famitsu, translated by Gamatsu, shows the game sold. I'm going to round down, right? 114,000 box copies in its opening week from April 22nd to the 28th. Push Square observes that God of War only managed 46,000 units in its opening week last year. Days Gone is only just short of outperforming 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn, which debuted at just about 117,000 sales in Japan. The site notes that the previous game's figures are from Media Create rather than Famitsu, so there may be slight discrepancies. And, as always, Famitsu's only account for physical copies, so total sales will be higher when digital is included. Days Gone, of course, also debuted at number 1 in the UK and held on to the top of the charts for a second week running due to a quiet week with few new releases. Congrats, Sony Bend.
Excellent news.
Exactly. Yeah. Great studio. I'm happy they're happy. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't think the game was amazing, but I enjoyed it enough. It was I always say mediocre, right? I don't think it hit the line of good for me. But this is something interesting I've been seeing a lot online, right, Andrea, is the push and pull very publicly between what critics said and scores were given and what the audience is saying while they play it, right? And I find it very interesting and complicated in a lot of ways. Because what I'm seeing is that I'm getting looped into a lot of the conversations, right? Because I was very vocal of like, I don't think it's a good game. I don't think it's a bad game. To be clear, if you missed our game cast review, right? Like it's by no means a bad game.
Oh, definitely not.
It's just I think it goes on too long. I don't think the systems are that great. I don't find that rewarding. I can see why people are having fun with it. And what I'm finding interesting in the discussion around it and some of the yelling around it is people losing sight of the difference between reviewing a product as hey, I'm trying to review it as a game journalist or critic, whatever you want to say, right? And then being a player with a product. And it's something we've walked the line is kind of funny with me in particular, of coming from IGN and a review background to then just being a personality and playing a game for a couple hours and being like, liked it, didn't like it, blah, 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 and just talking about it on the Gamescast, right? I feel it's telling when I read these comments where people are, especially on Instagram where I see it happening, or when I get looped into a Twitter thread, where people are like, yeah, well, it's crashed to me a bunch of times, and I didn't like this mechanic, but I'm having fun with this game. I don't understand why I got the scores it's got. And I'm like, that's why. You just said why, right? Like, it crashed a bunch on you, and you aren't enjoying aspects of it. You can sit there and say a game is not good and not mean that it's terrible, that it's broken, that it's a 5. You know what I mean? That it's a 4, that it's somewhere down that scale. And it's been fascinating to watch how people are wrestling with that right now. Have you seen this? Like, where are you at with Days Gone? I remember when we did review, you were closing in on the finish. Did you ever get to it?
No, so I put it aside because I was having too many issues with bugs, but I talked to Britt at length about this on the show, which you can hear again on Friday. But what I was happy to hear is that her game-breaking bug has now been fixed.
Oh, great.
And so it seems like the latest patch, which I think is 1.7, has fixed a lot of the issues, not only that she was suffering from, but that I was. And so I told her, I was like, well, that's great to hear, because I had put it down because I was like, you know what? I'm just getting frustrated.
Yeah.
And that is an unfortunate circumstance of us playing pre-release code, is that a lot of times those bugs can't be addressed and can't be fixed right away. And I know that they pushed, I think, 5 patches total in the time that we had the code before launch.
I think when we were down at Gearbox, one of the stories they did on the show was like, there's been a Days Gone patch every day for the past week or something to that effect.
Yeah, so they've clearly been working overtime to fix the technical issues in the game, which I'm really glad for. And I'm actually looking forward to going back in and jumping back in and really experiencing it without any of those bugs and seeing if I change my opinion.
Yeah.
I still think that there's some core gameplay design underlying that is always going to just fundamentally not resonate with me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I won't be able to enjoy my time with the game.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, right, we were talking about it in the review, and one of my main problems is, like, I think taking on a horde is awesome. That's so much fun. It gets introduced
so
50 hours into the game. Like,
yeah.
why wasn't I doing that earlier? Honestly, for me personally, outside of the fact, and I've been, very clear about this before. I know a lot of people at Sony, Ben. A lot of for years, I've known a lot of them. Obviously, I cheer for them. It sucked that the game didn't resonate with me, and I didn't enjoy it on that level. And like, I think the most telling thing, right, is like when we were talking about the review and being done with it. Tim's like, "Are you going to platinum it?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going back to Days Gone." What gets me excited about these sales and the fact that there is clearly an audience that it's resonating with and that they're enjoying it in spite of, or maybe they're not even having the problems that we all had, that I had. This gets me super excited for the sequel. I want there to be a sequel. I definitely don't want Sony Bend to be closed, right? Like, I've enjoyed a lot of their games. I think there are obviously a lot of great people. I don't want to see anybody out of a job, but I do really dig the fact that if it's resonating with people, and then they can take all the feedback that people, even the people who like it or people who didn't like it, into account and come back and give us a game that either is filled with more stuff to do, a better reward loop, shorter, whatever. Like, come in and take the very ambitious title you made and put out, right, and come out of the gates with a number 2 that's even better, that has a different thing on it, that corrects the problems I think most people are having. That'd be awesome. Indeed. Kevin, you ever gonna play? Did you play Days Gone? I forget.
I started to play it,
Yeah.
but I have this problem where I immediately was like, I don't like how this looks. I want to play something else.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do with the fact that is the video that we were testing. It was the trailer for Days Gone was the one we were testing to find out if the computer had a stutter. So now when I play it at home, it makes me very uncomfortable.
Gotcha.
I've seen that trailer hundreds of times.
Gotcha. Okay, fair. Number 3. This is from PC Gamer and Andy Chalk. Andy Chalk had an interview with CEO of EA, Andrew Wilson, where they're talking about EA and how EA is going to change the future of releasing games, or how the future of releasing games is changing, right? They were talking obviously about the launch of Anthem and all these different things they learned there, right? And so jumping out of that conversation, this is how it had to go. Quote, That obviously, and they're talking about going from a single player games to games as a service, obviously has an impact on development and QA processes. But EA is also examining how it presents new games to potential audiences with an eye toward managing expectations. Wilson said that in Asia, major online games generally go through a soft launch and multiple community tests before anything goes live, which enables EA to get a better idea of how they'll behave at scale. In the West, however, major publishers have stuck with older conventions, a quote, drip feed approach, end quote, to marketing to build up the appetite and excitement for the game. That leads straight to release. Here's the quote. Quote, as games have gotten bigger, that system isn't working as well as it has in years gone by. So what you should expect from us is that it's not just about changing the development processes in the game. It's not just about changing the QA process in the game, although both of those things are being changed dramatically inside our organization right now. But it also comes down to changing how we launch games. You should expect that we'll start to test things like soft launches, the same things that you see in the mobile game space right now, and it also comes down to changing how we communicate with players. Our entire marketing organization now is moving out of presentation mode and into conversation mode, and changing how we interact with players over time, end quote. Wilson believes that change in approach should help ensure that games run better and more reliably when they go fully live, and will also help players, quote, understand exactly what it is they're going to be playing and how they're going to be playing both on the day of launch and over time, end quote. Then back to another quote. We think that we're in a really good position for this. I think this gets really hard if you don't have scale to do this, and so we feel very good about it, Wilson said. And over time, we hope that we can lead from the front and help other developers and publishers change the way they do things as well, end quote. EA gets shit on all the time, obviously. Anthem obviously was a complete fucking quagmire of a launch and everything else, whatever. I know you need to judge on actions and not on words. I like what he's saying here. I like what Wilson's saying here. I feel like as an industry, if we are going to be like, you guys fucked up Anthem, you fucked up microtransactions, you right? We also need to say, okay, this sounds like the right thing. Will it actually be how it goes? Et cetera, so on. I don't fucking know. But I like this approach of like, yep, we learned a lot from our fuck up, and we now understand that this is not how games are right now in 2019, or at least even in the West, right? Like, we need to adopt a different style in terms of how this works and how to make it better and how to make sure players know what they're getting, so we don't have these explosions of Anthem is not what we were promised, right?
Absolutely. I think this is what a lot of players have been asking for, just some communication, right? EA has been notorious for not being as communicative with their player base as some other publishers are, and I think that speaks to just how large of a company they are and the global reach that they have, that maybe they felt that they couldn't have that conversation effectively. But I'm glad that, Andrew got out here and made this statement. As you mentioned, we don't know exactly what this means.
Of course,
going
and that's
forward,
my thing.
Right?
Maybe it is the same old song and dance for the next 5 years. I'm like, well, this was empty words, right? But
right.
I want to see this backed up. And it's what you're saying too, that they have been quiet, right? And that's something that worked against them even with Anthem as BioWare. And I would assume that part of you being quiet is the fact that overarching is like, well, no, that's not how we do it. We don't talk to our audience that way. You would hope that all the stumbles and falls they've had here in recent memory influence the decision to be like, okay, you know what, we're not going to be like that. And the new directive is talk to the audience, and the new directive is admit what you can, even when it's bad news, but get out there and talk about it. Because that's, again, if you talk to your audience about anything, they understand. And they may not like the answers, but at least they're like, well, at least you're shooting straight with me and you're talking to us about this.
Generally speaking, most reasonable people are willing to have a dialogue or have a conversation about it. Now, let's be honest. Like, there's always going to be people who are going to hate EA from now until the end of time because they have whatever reason they have. But I think that steps like this are in the right direction to potentially winning some of those players back that said, hey, you know what? You've been doing some pretty egregious things lately, and I'm not cool with that, so I'm just going to go spend my dollar somewhere else. And so maybe, this is a step in the right direction for EA to say, hey, don't forget, we make all of these games, and we made some mistakes, but we want to learn from those mistakes and move forward.
The only way EA can ditch being the worst company in America or world or all that shit, the most evilest company, whatever fucking thing they win all the time in this internet unpopularity contest, right, is by showing that they're human. And you show you're human by allowing the people who make the games to talk to the people who play their games.
Yeah, and you have to be vulnerable, right? You have 100%. To be able to admit when you've made mistakes and talk about them. That authenticity is something that we all are craving, and we are becoming to expect these days with the transparency that we're getting, you know, in these digital media formats, and this idea that we can always be connected and talking to each other. So I'm glad to hear that they're working on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think I hope this actually inspires and moves to action. That's the biggest thing. I like the words. Let's see if it actually plays out. Number 4, speaking of words, Gearbox is responding to the assault allegations. This is Emma Kent over at Eurogamer. I'm sure I don't need to recap it, but if I did, we've been talking about since the Borderlands 3 reveal event. Randy did the microtransactions thing. It blew up on the internet. He went after Game Informer. It seemed like that was calming down. Then Dave Eddings came out. He's not the voice of Claptrap in this, and that it was because they didn't want to pay him. And then Randy tweeted out, well, it's because he's disgruntled and bitter. And then Dave Eddings was like, all right, gloves are off. Here's like 9 tweets about how fucked up everything is there, and that they didn't pay me back in the day, but that was okay. And then they did. And then Randy assaulted me at GDC, and it's been a fucking shit show, and we've talked about it just about every day, even though it's like it's personal drama, but then it encroached into the news, and now it's in the news, so you can't stop it. Here's the update from Emma Kent at Eurogamer. Eurogamer has received comment from Gearbox on the physical assault allegation made by David Eddings against Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford. Here's the statement in full. Gearbox takes any and all claims of this nature very seriously, and we will abstain from commenting on the allegations Dave is making because it is a personal matter. We appreciate David's contributions to the Borderlands franchise and have continued to assert we would welcome him back into the mix as the voice of Claptrap and other future opportunities. End quote. That's the statement. Okay. Got it. I wish there was a thing we're investigating. I wish that was the claim. Yeah, David tweeted before I saw this thing, the statement yesterday. He tweeted like, "Glad Gearbox is taking this seriously." Da, da, da. And he's also. By the way, I also did report this back in the day. Nobody cared then. So who knows what the fuck's happening? I would have liked a stronger statement of, "We're investigating and talking to all parties," ending on the whole thing of like, "We'd also welcome them back into the mix." It's like, well, that's a weird thing to say right now. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the middle of these allegations. I don't know if that's what we need to say.
Well, I think they want to make sure that they're leaving the door open.
Sure.
But I'm just really not comfortable commenting on this situation. I have a long-time friendship with David Eddings. I have a lot of professional respect for Randy Pitchford. I don't know the specifics of the
100%.
situation, so I'm just going to not comment.
Totally fair. I mean, that's the thing is we talked about on Monday, right? Like, if it wasn't the news that he wasn't Claptrap, I probably wouldn't have ever brought this into our ecosystem.
Right.
Because it is, like I said, 2 former friends going back and forth now in public, right? And now it's escalated to an assault charge, which is or assault allegation, which is a completely different ball of wax. But what's Gearbox going to do, and how's this all going to shake out, or whatever? I don't know. I just want to play Borderlands 3. Can we just play Borderlands 3, everybody? That's what I'd like to get to. Can we not make sure nobody's being fucking beaten up in a hotel lobby while they're trying? God damn it. That's the update, at least though, from what Gearbox is saying. Again, I wonder what it means, like if they're what they'll do with this, but again, they're not going to comment because it's a personal matter, even though, who knows? I don't know. I'd like to see that there's like some kind of Gearbox Strike Force team or 2K Strike Force team investigating, but I guess that's a bridge too far for right now. Number 5, SEGA has bought the 2 Point Hospital developer. This is Matt Purslow over at IGN. SEGA has acquired 2 Point Studios as part of its Searchlight initiative. 2 Point Studios developed and released 2 Point Hospital last year with SEGA on publishing duties. But the new deal sees the small British studio brought into the SEGA stable of developers, which also includes Sports Interactive, Relic Entertainment, and Creative Assembly. 2 Point Hospital is set in the fictional area of 2 Point County, and the studio intends for a franchise of simulation games to take place in the same world. SEGA says that 2 Point Studios has multiple unannounced titles in development due to be revealed in the coming months, and so it seems sensible to expect more 2 Point branded games. I know when 2 Point Hospital dropped, everybody loved it. Like, if you were one of these PC dorks, people were playing it and having a great time. I saw Danny O'Dwyer all excited about it. I'm like, get out of here, loser. I gotta go get some trophies. You know what I mean?
That guy.
You know what I mean? Did you ever play 2 Point?
I did not, but
Yeah.
Steven, Spawn from Able Gamers recommended it.
Yeah?
Never played it though. Sorry, Steve.
Fuck you, Steve. You suck. Yeah.
It's on PC, man.
Exactly. We got things to do. You're playing Destiny, Division's out. I gotta go to the hospital. Come on. I ain't got time for hospitals. Good for them, though. Congratulations. Maybe SEGA will port it to a console. Number 6. Konami doesn't need us to be successful. This is James Batchelor of GamesIndustry.biz. Konami has released its financial results and reports for another year of growth, thanks to a mix of mobile games, esports, and the ongoing success of Pro Evolution Soccer. For the year ended March 31st, 2019, the company reported revenue is up 9.6% over the previous year, and that's 9.6%. Operative profit, meanwhile, rose by 11.8%. Profit before income taxes also grew up 12.5%, while profit for the year was reported at 34.2 billion yen, a year-over-year increase of 12.2%. Konami reports this marks five consecutive years of profit growth and the second year running of record operating profit. As always, the digital entertainment segment, which includes Konami's video games, generated the most revenue at $1.28 billion. That's a 17.8% increase year over year from $1.09 billion. Highlighting the biggest success is in digital entertainment, Konami praised the ongoing success of the now 2-year-old mobile title Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which has surpassed 90 million downloads. The mobile version of Pro Evolution Soccer also grew its revenue thanks to fresh TV marketing. In terms of consoles and PC games, PES continues to be the big hit with that game's online mode, My Club, performing particularly well, thanks in part to the promotion with the mobile version. When they moved away from Metal Gear, when they moved away from like the Castlevanias, we're all like, you're crazy. We're crazy. And then the people are like, oh, they got the pachinko machines, they got the mobile, they'll be fine. Look at them now. 5 years. They don't need us. It's like you're just watching your ex. You know what I mean? Our ex is just out there. Beautiful.
Are you saying that you'll never play a Metal Gear again?
No, of course not. Do you mean me personally, or do you think they'll make one again?
I mean you personally.
No. I was never part of the fuck Konami, like everything sucks, like we have to, like, don't get me wrong, I didn't play Metal Gear Survive, like no thank you. Don't get me wrong, I think the company higher ups did Kojima dirty from what everything we know. Again, I want somebody to write the entire book about that. Schreier, I know you're listening. I think that there's a lot of fucking, I mean, obviously, Metal Gear Solid, one of my favorite franchises of all time, right? Like, and obviously Kojima, a personal friend to some degree, not Jeff Keighley degree, but some degree. I think it sucks, but I also understand that, like we talked about with the Pitchford thing throughout the week, right? Of like, there are hundreds of people who bust their ass to make whatever Metal Gear game or whatever they're working on the best it can be, right? And even with Survive, which didn't resonate for me, it wasn't like, fuck that in the ground, da da da. We had the conversation yesterday of separating the art from the artist, you know what I mean? Vote with your wallet, the same thing we have all the time. And I didn't play Metal Gear Survive because I just didn't like Metal Gear Survive when I played the demo of it. It wasn't a game I was looking for, so on and so forth. If they were to take and reboot and bring in whoever to give their own version of Metal Gear and do all these different things, if they were to somehow, and I know it's impossible, but put Twin Snakes out on the Switch, right? Like, yes, I would want to play all those things. I'd want to buy them. I'd be interested in them. I'd obviously want to see how the games play and look and all that different stuff. Obviously. But it's more the fact that Konami's turned their back on us, so you'll never even get it. It's just going to be a Metal Gear pachinko machine. You know what I mean?
You would play the shit out of that.
No. Maybe. Probably. I'd buy, that's the hope. We got a big old office. We got a Metal Gear pachinko machine, right?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And the Ghostbusters one. Remember that Ghostbusters one from Peter Piper Pizza? Where I won all the tickets. That
wasn't a pachinko machine.
No, that was an arcade machine.
Oh, yeah. Someday we'll have a warehouse, bunch of arcades.
That's what I like to hear. What problem now? Do you like arcade games?
Depends what the game is.
But we could play Time Crisis for hours, right? Like, Time Crisis is great. Really?
We'd play it for a week. And then look, we don't even play Smash here.
Yeah, but like that's because you guys suck. Like it came out the week where everyone was like, Dad, I don't want to play games.
We played it the week it came out.
No, we played it for like a day and a half. It was sad.
Anyways, back to this. Konami, still doing really well. Congratulations. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whatever happens with Konami, whatever happens with Metal Gear. Like, I think, like anything else in the moment, everybody was so riled up and so angry and so, you know what I mean? But like, if it was, they brought in, I feel, again, if I'm at Konami, it's the same thing though, back to what we're talking about with EA and putting humans first, right? I feel if I was there and they were like, hey, we need to make a new Metal Gear game, we're bringing in Developer X. Developer X has been, and I'm talking about like person, right? Producer X, Director X. And Director X has been a Metal Gear fan their entire life, like you, Greg, awesome. Like, I would put them out front and that would be the messaging, right? But I'm sure that's not how Konami usually rolls, right? And that's not how I feel most. Well, I guess that's not true. I feel like Konami doesn't roll that way, and I don't know. And would they be able to come out and say, "Yeah, I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. Hideo Kojima means so much to me. I'm doing my own thing. We're doing our own thing in that kind of world." Like, I don't know if you could touch Snake or Big Boss or any of them. Like, I feel like that would be a bridge too far, but using the Metal Gear brand and either not rebooting or just telling a different story in the world, I think you could get away with. But you have to pay reverence to what's come before, and I worry that if the jerks at Konami are still there up top, are they going to put the boot on your neck and never let you say that?
Gonna be honest, Greg.
Yeah. Whatever, Andrea.
A lot of this just went right over my head.
Just say you nailed it, Greg. Just say you nailed it, Greg.
You nailed it, Greg.
Thank you very much. You know who else is nailing it? People putting out new games, and I'd love to list them. Andrea, where could I list them?
Well, Greg, you would go to kindafunny.com/store to buy that amazing Pride shirt that you're wearing.
That's right.
I was waiting for my moment to sneak it in.
You did good. You did
it's
good.
So good.
I like this shirt a lot. Good job, Andy Cortez.
We're debuting the What's Good Pride shirt on our anniversary stream this Saturday.
Oh, when's that? What time's that?
11 a.m. Pacific time to 3 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/what'sgoodgames.
Wow!
It's our 2-year anniversary. We turned 2.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
All right, cool.
But Greg, if you wanted to know what was coming to the Mom and Grab Shops, you would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Yeah! Out today! Life is Strange 2 Episode 3 Wastelands on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. I feel like there's been far too much time between those episodes. I'm like, there was a debate in here when we were talking about it. Maybe it was you and me. Maybe it was me and Jen. Maybe it was me and Kevin. I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
January was the last one?
Is that right? But it was like, did episode 2 ever come out? And I'm like, I did. And I was like, I don't remember anything from it. And then
I had to go back and replay
I went to
them all from the
Wikipedia and I was like,
beginning,
I guess I do remember it. But like episode 1, at least I felt like had this impact. Episode 2 kind of just happened. And I was like, all right, okay, whatever. So episode 3 is out now. For the King is on Switch. Doling's Arcade is on PS4. Yakuza Kiwami 2 is on PC. Masquerada Songs and Shadows is on Switch. Lost Artifacts Soulstone is on PS4 and Switch. Monster Puzzle is on Switch. Machi Knights Blood Bagos is on Switch. Icon is on PC. Pax Nova is on PC. Fortnite Season 9 launches today. Arcade Archives Terra Force is out on Switch. These are all Switch from here on out. Then it's Ascendance, Dragon Snakes, we talked about For the King, Frayne, Dragon's Odyssey, OTTTD, Over the Top Tower Defense, World End Syndrome. New dates for you. Unruly Heroes comes to PlayStation 4 on May 28th. A Plague Tale Innocence comes to PlayStation 4 on May 14th. Battalion 1944 leaves early access on May 23rd. The Irony Curtain, but it's irony, like not iron, it's irony, but like Iron Curtain, but Irony Curtain comes to PC and good old games on Thursday, May 16th, 2019. Lorne Sword Winter Chronicle is coming to early access on Steam May 30th. And then Star Sky is coming to the Switch on May 23rd. Andrew?
Yes, Greg.
It's time for Reader Mail. In the Reader Mail section today, we have a special guest. His name, Steve Saylor, the blind gamer. He's hosted Kind of Funny Games Daily at least twice, maybe 3 times, but I think it's twice. kindoffunny.com/.
He also guested on the What's Good Games PAX East panel.
We don't talk about that. Is that online? Can people go watch it?
Yeah, you can get it wherever you listen to What's Good Games or watch it at youtube.com/what'sgoodgames.
Perfect, go do it.
I lied, it's not on YouTube, it's only an audio. I forgot we never did a video for it.
It's such a pain in the ass. You drag the camera over there,
Right,
something go wrong.
exactly.
Kevin's in the back of the room standing at the sticks. It sucks.
You want to listen to it
Yesterday, we talked about the patent Microsoft had filed for a Braille controller with Braille on the back, in which I hypothesized how someone who's visually impaired might use it. And I mentioned Steve Saylor by name. He heard my cries and wrote in. Hey, Greg. I heard your bat signal of sorts on Kind of Funny Games Daily yesterday. Haha. Thanks for thinking of me when talking about the Braille controller patent. I don't know if he was that like haha about it, but I put it in there.
I liked it.
I used to know basic Braille I used to know basic Braille as it was feared when I was a kid that I would completely lose all of my vision. When my vision didn't deteriorate, thank God, I unfortunately didn't keep up with learning Braille fluently. That being said, this controller would definitely help people who use Braille all the time and even those who may not need it in everyday life. From the brief information I've read about the patent, you are correct in that it seems it will help with on-screen communication with other players, which is something I've avoided and preferred communicating via only voice. However, there are times where I do not want to talk and text would be the preferred option. So this controller would definitely help with that. Also, the ability to have a game send haptic feedback to the player with what's happening on screen is something that I'm very interested in seeing how Microsoft will accomplish. I don't speak for everyone. However, if this patent does develop into a consumer product, I'll be the first in line to pick it up. Cheers, Steve Saylor, the blind gamer. Find him on youtube.com/snowball, which is a weird name because he should be the blind gamer, but also Snowball very short. You know what I mean? He has it, don't lose it. You know what I mean? It's good.
Very short.
It's easy to remember because he's like an albino, so he looks like a snowball. That's his whole thing.
Oh, dude, come on, be cool.
That's what he talked about. He talked about that on the show. That's not me.
He did tell that story.
He told that story. Don't try to do this. It's like at the time when we were signing off and he called me an ableist. I was like, all right. See you later, Steve. Thank you, Steve, for writing in. We love you very much. Next question comes from patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where you can and should write in each and every day with questions. It's GillyBrums, frequent contributor and a man who brought a crooked commish sign to WWE SmackDown in a Kinda Funny shirt the other day and got on TV. Congratulations. Good job. Xavier Wood sucks. Gilly says, good morning, Greg and Andrea. My question is pretty brief today. As everybody's ramping up for E3, do you think next month's Bethesda's conference is going to be a shit show? I can't help but think the Fallout 76 blunder is going to mar the whole show for many fans. Maybe the bigger question is, how do you see fumbled games as service launches impacting E3 or press conferences in general in the coming years? Curious to know what you guys think. Also, congrats on the KFGD showcase date. All of the hype, GillyBrums. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I should have put that out. Yesterday, we confirmed a whole bunch of stuff during that town hall I told you to watch. Most important for you, we have a date and time for the Kinda Funny Games E3 showcase. You can come watch us debut a bunch of cool indie games, a bunch of different announcements, a bunch of releases at the time on Monday, June 10th, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. When it ends, over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. That's right, we're only doing it on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames because we're using YouTube Premiere. You can roll on over to our Square Enix pre-show coverage. But I digress, Andrea, Renee. E3 right around the corner.
Yes.
What do you think is going to happen? Do you think, as Gilly's worried, Fallout 76 is going to mar the Bethesda conference?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I don't think it will whatsoever. Bethesda has a very wide breadth of IP that they manage. Fallout is just one of those.
Yeah.
I fully anticipate us getting some kind of an update about what's happening in Fallout 76 at E3 from Bethesda, but they've already said that they're going to focus on Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
We're going to get an in-depth look at that.
Wolfenstein's got to be there, right?
Yeah, so we have Wolfenstein Youngblood, which we anticipate to be there as well. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we get a first sneak peek at Starfield.
No way. Me too. I hope so, but no way.
Teaser trailer, CGI, something, a logo.
We got that last year, kinda.
Not really.
Whatever, though. They still tease like 7 games that we're not going to play till 2030.
Well, I thought they did the right thing last year by getting out in front of people asking about it, by them saying,
sure.
Well, yes, we're working on it. I don't think we're going to hear anything about Elder Scrolls 6. I think that's way too far away. But I would like to see something about Starfield.
I hope so, man. I hope they're close, yeah.
But maybe they'll do some more stuff for Elder Scrolls Online. That's been a continuing popular game for them. Maybe we'll see something about either Blades or Legends.
Definitely. Their mobile stuff, you'll see.
Right.
Yeah, and Elder Scrolls Online, they'll get an update on there. I think it's interesting, right, Gilly, because when everything was going wrong with Fallout 76, that was my question of like, I was very reactionary, and it shows like how short everyone's attention span is in the industry, right? Where I was like, man, if it's this bad, how can you do a press conference at E3? Everyone will be ready to tear you apart, pitchforks, torches. They'll be there ready to burn down the entire house, right? And so much has happened since then, not in just Fallout 76 land, but in terms of the video game industry as a whole. The latest update to Fallout 76 we read about yesterday, I think, on the show, where they're adding like players can have their own vendor stands now and all this different stuff. It sounds like, again, it took them a long time, but that sounds more and more like the game people actually wanted Fallout 76 to be, to the point that I'm like, I need to turn that back on at some point and jump in and play it. But then, of course, I just want to play The Division. But I digress in the way that I think they're to the point where they're going to be able to come out and do the thing I talked about, right? Where it's like, sure, you open with Doom Eternal or Wolfenstein, and with the other one, right? You have your big tentpoles. Hopefully, you have some kind of and one more thing teaser that blows everybody away. But in the middle there, it's easy to be like, and let's talk about, please welcome to stage whoever from Fallout 76, or it's just Todd again, right? And it's like, I mean,
it would be Pete.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Todd came out to talk about 76 last time, right? And
he did.
Yeah. And and we love Pete Hines, obviously. But I think you could, whoever you want to bring out, come out. And I think it would be a good look to have it be Todd again. And be like, last year I sat on the stood on the stage and I talked about Fallout 76, and it wasn't exactly what I want. Even have a little funny montage of fucking broken bugs or whatever, or review scores, right? But we've come a long way, and we've added this and we've done this and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, our commitment to this game is unwavering. Here's what's still coming. Here's the rest of the plan. Like, we're still very much making this into a Fallout game you want to play. And we hope everybody who did give a chance. Here's a free trial announcement. Like, I think as the theme of this show has been, if you come out and you are a human being about it, right? Of like, it didn't launch the way we wanted to. We learned a lot. We fucked up a lot, but we're in a much better space now.
But this has been very good about that messaging, at least in the past. And I think that's a reason why, one of the reasons why we have so much respect for Pete Hines, the head of their marketing there, because he's willing to have some of those tough conversations with people without kind of mincing words about it, which I appreciate. But I don't think everything that happened with Fallout 76 is going to mar Bethesda in a permanent way. Right?
I think we're past that, and I think it is that you come out and you deliver the message right here. You get it to a grander stage of like, no, Fallout 76 is kind of worth your time. Because like, Susan Arnett, or I can never pronounce her last name.
I always mess it up too, and I've known Susan forever.
Yeah. Aren't? Yeah, okay. Susan. Everybody knows her in the industry,
Susan,
right?
We're sorry.
She actively plays Fallout 76 and tweets about Fallout 76 all the time, right? And I know there's so many people on the subreddit that do. I still follow the subreddit. I think it is that thing. If you come out and obviously in the chat, it's going to be like, no, Fallout 76 lol. And people are like, oh my God. If they show a bunch of cool shit and you have people who are still playing it being like, no, guys, it actually is way better. It actually has turned a corner. It actually is something that's either worth your time or about to be worth your time. That's all you need. That's all the messaging you need. And let alone the fact that if you're willing to go out there and take it on the chin and talk to the audience about it, cool. It's a bigger question, I think, and not even question because it's exactly what I'm talking about here, just with less time for Anthem. At EA Play this year, right? Like, Anthem's going to be one of the games, you assume. Or they probably already announced it. I can't keep it all straight. But it's a no-brainer that it's going to be there.
Of course, they are hopefully going to be pushing a big update around E3.
And that's the thing, right? Like, you have to imagine when you talk about Anthem, it needs to be, hey, Anthem's not where we want it to be, but this is what we've done so far. We screwed up and paused this and did that, but you do have the ability with the latest, second to latest update by the time they get on stage, you assume that, hey, you can, you don't have to go back to the Forge, you don't have to go back to your home base anytime, you can go into missions over and over. Like, we're working on this, and that you need to come out and deliver that message. It's interesting because Fallout 76 has had so much more time, so many more updates, so much more DLC added to it, whereas Anthem is still in a place where I feel Anthem still hasn't got. I don't see the corner turn yet.
No, they still have some work to do for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing of how do you message that legitimately and still talk in a way to excite your fans and excite future players, hopeful players.
Well, I think they could maybe look at how Bungie has evolved the conversation with Destiny players since original Destiny launched and say, hey, we hear what you guys are asking for. This is the roadmap. Let's be really clear about the feature set that we're working on. And I think that's, the conversation we had when Anthem launched was that this game clearly would have benefited from launching in early access or at least in closed or open beta to have a longer period of dialogue with people who are willing to help workshop some of those issues, because there's obviously a swath of players out there who are excited about that, who want to help test out that stuff.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head from the first or second news story, right? Of Andrew Wilson, right? Of like, we need to change how we do it. And yes, Anthem would have been so different if it launched and it said beta, if it said early access, and it was people jumping in there and being like, load times suck, why can't I come back and do this, blah, blah, and then being like, cool, thank you, we're listening, we're going to work on that, we're going to change all that, blah, blah, instead of launching in a state that was, here you go, $60, if not more, games as a service from BioWare, from EA, and people getting to be like, wait, what the fuck? Like, when you launch with that tag on, it's a different thing, and I think, especially with games as a service, you find an audience that is so into that, so into being, we were there first when it wasn't great, but now it's great and everybody should play it and blah, blah. You just lose, as Andrew Wilson talked about earlier in the show, the traditional marketing push of how you make sense of all that. But I think obviously, as he talked about today, they've learned their lesson, and again, it's just talk at this point, but they've learned their lesson in terms of, yep, we are in a different spot with these types of games. We cannot treat them like we treat Madden or how we treat Star Wars. Like, we have to make sure we're coming out and saying, let's learn together, let's work it all out together. I think there's ways to fix that still for them. I think it's been more and more punch in the face over and over again. But if you can get out and reward players, and you were there first, and here's a bunch of in-game currency, and here's how we're changing it, blah blah blah. But it's still a different thing for EA or E3/EA Play to come out and be like, cool, this isn't like an uplifting segment. We can't come out and just be like, everything's so great. We need to be like, things have been rough, and they're going to be a little rough for a little bit. We got good stuff coming, and we're working on it. We want
they
you.
did that a little bit with the Battlefront segment of last year's EA Play,
Sure.
but clearly they need to go further, and they need to make it more of a dialogue than development teams just speaking at the community and saying like, hey, let's talk about what the complaints you guys have brought up and how we're going to address those specifically.
And that goes back to the Wilson stuff, right? Where I hope that this is fucking true. And I hope that what that means is, cool, reins are off. You can talk to your community and actually talk to them about what's happening, where you're at, why they're not getting what they want, but how you're working with it rather than a random Reddit post that gets blown up here and there. I digress. We'll have to wait and see. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. It's time to squad up. This is where one of you writes into patreon.com/kindafunnygames. You give me your name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in a video game. I read it here. The best friends come and find you. The dangling mic cord hit your thing over there?
Yep.
We got all these weird danglies today.
Yeah, man, I'm
There's
sorry.
all over
dude.
the place.
I'm
I
gonna
knocked one out
I'm gonna-
earlier.
I'm
There was
gonna
like
blame
boop, boop.
Barrett for not clipping
I've been,
them
like,
on
kicking
correctly.
Fucking Barrett. I hate Barrett. You know what I mean?
It's
Look at
so
this.
easy to do the job right.
We were talking about when we came in, we missed Cool Greg doing this because there's no coasters. The table was a mess.
Cool
and-
Greg was a G.
Cool Greg was great.
He's watching, dude. Barrett's watching right now.
Barrett.
Exactly, Barrett's not here. This is on you. I'm insulting you now.
That the fact that he doesn't put
Yeah,
coasters
how
out
you, how
bothers
you
me.
did this today. An embarrassment. Cool Greg's rolling over in his bed wherever he is.
I think Cool Greg's awake by now. He's probably.
I don't know. Time to squad up. Tom Caswell needs help on Xbox. His Xbox username is Great BriTom. So like Britain, but BriTom, BriTom. That's 2 words. Great BriTom. He says, level 10 Division 2 player. Played at launch, but then lost myself to Sekiro. Looking to jump back in with anyone that's willing to play with a low-level Division player. If you want to play with Tom and maybe Gary Witt on Xbox, go find him. Great BriTom. Play some Division 2 with him. We need to talk about what was your thoughts on yesterday's announcement, the gear score staying at 500.
So I listened to you and Fran's conversation about it, and I absolutely understand why they made the decision that they did. And you're never going to please everybody, but I think with the way that they've designed tailoring your gear set, I think it's the right call to not increase the gear score, because I was just talking about this with another dev team for a game that I can't speak about yet, but I essentially was expressing my frustration with some of Destiny 2's events in that I love the chase of this new gear set. Like I was chasing for the Revelry sets when that event was happening, but then it's so irritating that because there's no transmog system in the game and I'm always going after the next light level, that I feel like I get this cool stuff and then there's no way for me to actually use the cool stuff that I got.
I got it. Great. I have. There's new shit. Dump the old shit. Like as soon as you get to start doing it. Yeah, totally. I hope Division figures that out, because I would love the idea. The same thing they have in Assassins and Transmog, right? Like it's a thing that exists in a million games.
Right.
But just be able to take
transmog in every game.
I'm using such a fucking ugly backpack right now in Division 2. I'm like, can I please? I had cool backpacks before. Can I just unlock that style and apply it to this? Yeah.
And I understand the recalibration system is supposed to be a step in the transmog direction.
Yeah.
But it's not there yet, and it's not perfected. And obviously, like, the game just came out a couple months ago, so they're probably tweaking it and working on it. But I think it was the right call for them to say, you know what, we have all of these end game players who are chasing the perfect set, and we'll kind of throw a monkey wrench into that if we add all of this new gear at a higher level. Because all that new stuff that dropped when you got to World Tier 5, those green sets, I've just been putting them all in my stash because they keep dropping at gear score so much lower than I'm at. I would love to put a full set together and experience what 6 pieces of armor perks actually are like in a group setting and going into a stronghold,
Yeah,
but
totally. I agree.
I don't know.
I don't know either, Andrea. It's time for You're Wrong, where we find out all the things we didn't know and got wrong. It's pretty clear today. Remember, if you're watching live, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, you can go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screw up as we screwed up, so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and listening on podcast services around the globe. Cog Show says, you said your Gamescast video of Days Gone conversation is different than a review, but the video is literally called Days Gone review. Maybe I misunderstood what you meant. You did. Sorry if it was unclear. I was probably moving quick through because it's a conversation we've had before. The Days Gone review, I was saying it's different. What's different is the conversation players are having around Days Gone versus what critics are having with their review. So I'm very much counting my Days Gone review as a review. As I said in that thing, I played it and treated it more like an IGN review than I have since I left IGN for any game. I'm saying that is a review so I'm sitting there being like, well, because of this, because of that, it means that the game doesn't equal out to be great or whatever, versus somebody who's playing it and says the same thing, but then it's like, I'm having a great time with the game. That's different, in my opinion.
Did you see this? New
Entertainment.
look.
Oh, Taylor Swift dyed the tips of her hair.
Yeah.
Nice.
T Swift.
I
new music.
have me stuck in my head right now. I'm pretty stoked. It's a good song. Really good. Return to the form. Even though, as I said, I've been saying publicly, Reputation grew on me. The older I got. I took a couple years off. Me, Kevin, and Jen listened to it when we were going to DC Comics that one time. Remember that, Kev? Yeah, you do. We were in the car. You filmed a vlog about it. We listened to Reputation once, and I never listened to it again until like years later. And I was like, you know what? This is pretty
thinking
good.
about Barrett.
Barrett was definitely not working with us when we went and did that. Oh, thank you. Kevin's throwing up the entertainment weekly. So what are we advertising here? Just the hair, or is she talking about a new album? Or?
Yeah, she's talking about her new music.
Nice. When's the new
story.
album dropping? Because like Me is a great song. Kevin, find out when Taylor Swift's new album dropping. Nanobiologist has 2 corrections. Greg, I wanted to clarify. The last 2 episodes of Life is Strange 2 release dates have been announced. Oh, this was not what we were unclear about. Episode 4 is, this sucks though. Episode 4 is the 22nd of August, and episode 5 is the 3rd of December.
So about 3 months between each game?
Yikes.
Or
no,
each
thank
episode?
You. Yeah, no. I might just let them stack now. Because I don't even...
I know, I might too.
No, sorry.
Play it all in one go?
No good. And then Nanobiologist confirms I was correct. Steve has hosted Kinda Funny Games Daily twice. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. If you went there today, of course, and backed us at the silver level, you could watch us record the Kinda Funny Games cast this afternoon. You could put in your questions for the entire month. You could have a great time. Remember, if you have no bucks to toss our way, no big deal. We'll be doing a reaction to PlayStation's State of Play today, 3 p.m. Pacific time, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. You could pop back over, come do the games cast the second half. Even though Kevin doesn't like it, too bad. We have to do it, all right? We have to. Andrea?
Yes, Greg.
You're leaving us. I mean, you're doing the games cast, but in terms of the games daily segments, you're not on tomorrow. So it's important to point out, what's good? New episode tomorrow.
Yes.
Then Saturday, what's good? 2nd year anniversary streamathon.
It's going to be so exciting.
And where's the live stream? Did I already screw this up?
No, so you can watch it at youtube.com/what'sgoodgames or at twitch.tv/what'sgoodgames. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be... we have a little anniversary video that the amazing Pixel Brave put together for us. We're going to have a cool slideshow. We're going to be debuting our Pride, or What's Good Games Pride t-shirt that we're going to be selling. And somehow Brittany thinks that she's going to convince Steimer and I to play Five Nights at Freddy's. So...
Oh, wow, okay.
I guess that's happening.
So everybody's in town again?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.